Hello all. Boy. So I've had a encounter recently with a gentleman who appears to have some degree of academic training. I don't know if I don't believe he's an academic, but basically I'm seeing the credibility gap I have. But in so seeing it, I'm also seeing the critique I have of a lot of credibility mechanisms. So it's like, I don't have the credibility, and yet I'm also critiquing the credibility structure. So, I don't know what to make of that. But anyway, onwards towards critiquing the credibility structure. So the academic credibility structure appears to be based on, well, part of it is the whole industry of producing papers and, getting your degree and all that. But I guess what I'm thinking more specifically about is the way academics can sometimes find one flaw in a project and reject the whole project as a result, without even attempting to consider whether or not there are ways around that problem or alternatives or stuff like that. Maybe academics don't do that, but I know people I've seen people do it, and I find it, I don't know, I don't like it. I think it's inefficient, and I think it's crude, basically. It's a very low resolution way of looking at the world and looking at problems. A person can spend an incredible amount of effort producing a body of work, and somebody can find one flaw, and obviously one flaw can sometimes be a fatal flaw, but the issue is to what degree is the fatal flaw true? What if instead of the entire thing collapsing, what if there is a way to shift the entire project such that, or even what if there are projects within it that can be sectioned off and say, okay, well, the entire project was a failure, but there are good things here or there and the other. And of course, people do that. Something comes out, it's judged, discredited, and then eventually, when people are no longer yelling about how it shouldn't be accredited, somebody can pick it up, dust it off, and say, oh, there's some value here, and I'm going to build an argument off of it. And that to me is really inefficient. Like, how many years does it take for the credibility police to stop yelling that, oh, that's not credible? Instead, what if we got right to work on synthesis? What if we allow ourselves, instead of to play the credibility game, the rejection game, what if we play a synthesis game? What if we say, okay, we know that this dimension of it, which might appear to be the foundation of the whole project, okay, yes, that might just be a fatal problem. But let's look around. Let's look at the structure. Let's see what makes sense about it. And let's just let those parts kind of float in midair while we try a couple of other new things. Seems to make sense to me. Certainly it's a pastime I don't mind engaging in. So let's say that those in positions of credibility who have to maintain their credibility, let's say, okay, they're not allowed to play that game, the synthesis game. Okay. That doesn't mean there can't be a secondary game, and that secondary game can have value. I mean, I think it's silly that academicians can't play the synthesis game and not worry about accreditation and credibility. And I mean, it all comes down, I think, to who gets their name in lights, right? Or who gets their name on the paper, who gets capable of a reward or of tenure or of some other nomination, award. But what if the reward is discovering something interesting? Then you can cut out all that BS. I mean, obviously you still need some kind of a ranking structure, some kind of a credibility structure. But what if the credibility structure is not this kind of institutional structure, but is truly on kind of universal peer review? Not just, what I mean by universal peer, I guess, is something like the commonality structure I've talked about in other videos. I don't see the value of saying that the only credibility structure that matters is a... Come on, brain. Is one of a select group of peers. I think that causes many problems. Amongst them is a language develops among the peers that kind of keeps it in-house, keeps the discussion in-house. And you have to learn that language and everything goes with it. And if you don't learn the accreditation process, or if you don't go through the accreditation process as you learn the language, then your use of that language is suspect, right? Or can be. I mean, I've seen academics be very gracious and humble, and even award people, for the work they have done outside of the academy, and I hope that can continue to happen. But I've also seen the opposite happen. And I guess what I am critiquing is there can be other methodologies. It doesn't have to just be through the institutions. The institutions can corrupt the process. We are in an age of information where we are now, many of us are demanding to know and understand for ourselves rather than through the academy. Partially that's because we are hobbyists, but that is not to say we are unserious about what we are learning. We are people who spend all our free time, or all our free thought time, at least, processing, learning, synthesizing, developing our ideas. And we want our own credibility structure, or at least I think we want our own credibility. I would think that it would be of great value to have our own credibility structure. An introduction to the Betterment Project is a great video to watch if you want more to know more about my thoughts on that. What I'm trying to get at, I suppose, with this video is that well, I suppose that's it. But I wanted to offer a critique of science specifically, I suppose. But I'm not going to do that right now because I need to go shopping. So, thank you for your time.